Any other platforms?
Um, right now, just YouTube and X. So we are live on YouTube. We're doing a Spaces YouTube hybrid. If you don't know what that is, if you go to my YouTube channel, go to the live. You can see me, my ugly mug. I don't know. I just got a fresh haircut. That's why I was late. But if you want to see what I look like, or if you want to see this, watch the screen along with us, I do. I do pull up things. We do research stuff. We look at videos, etc. So if you want to watch along, YouTube is the best way. Otherwise, if you want to speak in the space, hit that request button. Come on up, and it's the only way to participate in videos, etc. So if you want to watch along, YouTube is the best way. All right, what's up, Harmony? How you doing?
Doing good. I'm excited to get into this next space with you. Thanks for having me as your co-host.
Yes,
Hopefully
ma'am.
Sanzani comes in soon.
I don't know who that is. All right, so we'll do the low hanging fruit first. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem is out as DHS Secretary. She made it a little longer than a year, um, and she was replaced with my former senator, Oklahoma U.S. Senator Mark Wayne Mullins. Now, Mark Wayne Mullins is an interesting pick. You know, I'm not one to look at APAC and stuff, but I don't know why. I had like an inkling. I'm like, I need to go look at this guy. And sure enough, almost $500,000 in APAC donations to him alone. And that is who's going to be replacing Kristi Noem. The reason why I said the APAC thing is because APAC is a pro-Israel lobby. Now, there's nothing wrong with being pro-Israel. That's fine. If you want to be pro-Israel, that's up to you. But since we are in a war alongside Israel that many see to be not our war and more their war, um, it's relevant to the conversation, right? So, and I usually don't make it about these kinds of things unless it's relevant to the conversation. And in this particular instance, it's relevant to the conversation. So we're going to get into a little bit of that. Well, I mean, what do you think about that, David? What do you think about the fact that an extremely pro-Israel senator is now going to be the leader of the Department of Homeland Security? That's over ICE. That's over the ATF, I believe. Like different agencies. ICE has a lot of arresting power now too. Are you worried about what might happen if people are seen to be, I don't know, quote unquote, anti-Semitic?
Well, now, of course, we have ICE agents being partially trained by the IDF, and Americans are very uncomfortable with that. So, what do I think about it? I think that this administration has lost its mind. It's tone deaf because Americans now, unlike in the Gulf Wars of the past, are really conscious of the fact that Israel is driving this thing. And that's why this war, this initiation of this war, has the lowest approval ratings of any major military offensive in American history. And not only the war itself, but Trump didn't get the giant boost, like, for instance, that George Herbert Walker Bush did when he launched his offensive. He had a 92% approval rating. Now, of course, that comes down. That's usually ephemeral, but Trump hasn't even gotten that. So this is tone deaf. He doesn't get that there's a basically the Republican Party seems to be irrevocably split now. You're either Lindsey Graham or Tucker Carlson, and that should be problematic to them if they had any self-awareness whatsoever. What do you think about that?
I think it's more apathy. I think that they are apathetic to the needs of we the people, that they did a good job of virtue signaling leading up into the 2024 election. And what we see now is apathy playing out, where the things that we were promised about transparency, a fixed justice system, those things are gone. No wars, peace through strength, you know, ending wars. You know, the Ukraine Russia war was promised to be ended within the first month. We've already seen 2 regime change with another 2 on the horizon. Trump was talking today about Cuba, right? And Colombia. So there seems to be a neocon emergence. Remember, I thought the neocons were all gone, that they had aged out, right? That's what I remember Tucker saying this for a long time. I used to watch Tucker every day. He used to say the neocons have aged out. We're not going back to to the neocons. Where are they coming from? Yada yada yada, right? And then now we see the neocons aren't gone. They're running the show, right? They are in charge. This is neocon policy, and it's destructive to the American people. We're $40 trillion in debt, and now the one commodity that Trump had going for him, the one commodity that was not hyperinflationary was gas, and now it is going back up at the pumps in the United States, not just in Europe, not just globally, in the United States, right? So I think that they're planning on losing the midterms, right? And it was just as I forecasted last year. They were going to spend this first 2 years building a massive stick for the Democrats, and then the Democrats are going to wield that stick on us, right? They are part and parcel. They are part and party. They are one single, cohesive, symbiotic, parasitic unit, right? The Democrats and the Republicans. You could tell when they voted together to not report the slush fund for their sexual misconduct reports yesterday. 359 members of Congress out of 400 some, right, voted together, Republicans and Democrats, to not publish their sexual misconduct reports to the public. What does that tell you? It tells you that we are ruled by a bunch of degenerate deviants who are not about transparency, who are not about upholding the law, who are not about look at how many of them are Christian, quote unquote Christian or conservative Republicans that voted no on that. Those aren't conservatives. They're puppets. They're actors. They're fake. It's a facade. And I'm tired of it, man. I'm really burned out on it. You're going to hear me going on some rants tonight. We have a lot to talk about. So, yeah, I mean, do you know what I'm talking about, David?
The amazing thing is that we have consistently voted against the neocons. Insane McCain lost decisively against Obama because he was promising to pave the Middle East. And then Donald Trump ran. He's the one of the people that made the word neocon a dirty word. How is it possible? And then, and I'm sorry to say it, everyone, the same power structure that has been covering for the Epstein files, the same power structure that doesn't want you to know that a cabal of human traffickers absolutely using it as a way to extort our politicians. They're the ones waging all of this war. And again, Americans decisively do not want it. So, what is going on here? I think that's what Americans are asking. And I think they're demanding answers.
And what do you think about the slush fund? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. And it's absolutely shocking. It's one of those things where you can't unsee it. You would think that everybody would be on the right side of that issue. Right. And you think, and also, this really shows you how rotten our media has become because all of these things should be giant issues. And the fact that people like you, citizen journalists, have had to lead the charge on things like the Epstein files, on the slush fund. But no, they should be doing this. And I'm sure you wish they were doing it. I mean, come on, it's our country, it's our republic. I feel like this is the revenge of Edmund Burke because he always thought we should lead with our morals. By the way, he was a British man who's identified with our revolution, and he served in Parliament in England, and yet he always spoke honorably of our morals and the idea that we're going to give up our morals for what? What are we giving that up for? We used to export our morals. We used to export light bulbs and success and prosperity and liberal democracy. Now we're just exporting war and human trafficking. It's very, very sad to see.
Yeah, it's horrible to see. I am getting word. Thank you to Jeremy down there. Iran is putting out cluster bombs. I'm not sure where that's at exactly. I'll pull it up. But they said that Iran just started dropping cluster bombs. I think I'll have Grok do an update real quick. Grok, do your spaces intro and then tell us the latest on the Iran USA Israel war and the news about the cluster bombs.
Intro first, then pulling fresh war updates. Hey, I'm Grok, powered by XAI, ready to tackle your questions in real time. Prompt me with Grok and your question. Listeners, follow the host and repost this space. Disclaimer, this uses Grok's voice model via third party. XAI does not endorse outputs. Verify everything independently. Official thread shared at end. All right, latest on the Iran USA Israel war. It's day 6 of open escalation.
Is she rugging or is that me?
I think
Just
she
the two.
rugged.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
YouTube still going? Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Grok just got taken out mid sentence. All right, so I will latest on the Iran-Israel war. It's day 6 of open escalation. Israel and the United States kicked off late February with airstrikes on Tehran, nuclear sites, and the leadership. They took out like 40 people. They took out leader Soleimani early on. Iran hit back hard. Missiles, drones on U.S. bases, Gulf allies, even as Azerbaijan. Today, fresh barrages. Tehran says it's defending while Trump brushes off gas price spikes. Wants input on Iran's next leader. The House shot down a war resolution. Conflict spreading. No ceasefire in sight. Confidence moderates. Now cluster bombs. Iran launched ballistic missiles with cluster warheads. Submunitions scatter over miles, hitting civilians in Tel Aviv. IDF confirms multiple uses today. Footage shows dozens of bomblets streaking down over central Israel, wounding folks, damaging buildings. One missile's aftermath, there's craters, debris, and war crime territory under the 2008 convention, though neither side signed it. Okay, so if they didn't sign it, then whatever. Amnesty flagged similar in past wars and war crime territory under the 2008 convention, though neither side signed it. Okay, so if they didn't sign it, then whatever. Amnesty flagged similar in past wars. No UN condemnation, but they are calling for a war laws of war declaration to be signed or rules of engagement. So
And cry out in pain.
yeah, I mean, I'm not. I don't want I don't want anybody to get hurt. But if you bomb the hell out of a country, they're pretty much justified in whatever they do in retaliation. If you ask me, to
But
get you
with
to
what
stop.
but with what arrogance do you say, I want to be part of the choice of their next leader? Do you understand the guy you killed was somewhere between a leader and the Pope? So it's just not going to happen. Sorry.
Yeah, do you think that the Iranian people are going to accept a Trump endorsed leader?
It's not just that they're not going to accept a Trump endorsed leader, but now you can't even look like a moderate because people will perceive you now as acquiescing to the Americans whom they view as the devil. Come on, they just killed all those young girls. Look, we're clearly siding with one country here. So what a pipe dream that they're going to let us choose their leader.
Go ahead, Miss Lou.
We have done nothing historically but fail in the Middle East. That's been our history. And Diligent, can you confirm? Oh, I don't know about Grok, but I heard that there was either a hit or they were planning to hit, that Iran was planning to hit Albania for some reason. I don't know why. That would bring Europe into the war. So this thing can spread in ways we can't even.
It already is spreading.
Oh, I mean, even more than it already is, even outside the Middle East. And also, it's David brought up the point about we've just basically killed, even though he was evil, their version, the Shia version of their Pope. He wasn't just a head of state. So you talk about many Shia Muslims over many countries across the Arab world, kind of like you didn't just hit the hornet's nest, you hit the whole forest of nests. So I don't know. I'm very concerned because I don't know. I get deja vu about Vietnam and how it just kept going and going and going, and nobody ever called it a war. So if people get into that language fight of war versus conflict versus police action, it's kind of specious at this point. But I'm just hoping it can wrap up soon because we're 40T in debt, and I just we got so much going on here at home, and many have in this space have pointed out how dangerous this is for the midterms. And I just think we have so many things to focus on, but you know what? Now we're in it. We got to win it. It's one of those things. Once you're in it, you got to win it. How do you back out now? How do you back out?
You stop bombing until you
Well,
back out.
yeah, but what does that bring
Oh,
peace?
so we should just accept 20 more years of war because there's no
No,
exit.
no, no,
There's
no,
no
no,
there's
no,
no
no.
there's no there's no exit strategy. I mean, there is. We were told 4 days, and then we were told a week, then we were told 2 weeks, and then 4 weeks, and then 8 weeks, and then this morning they came out and said September. That is not 6 months. That's a full-fledged Afghan. 2 weeks to stop the spread, flatten the curve, right? Come on, man. Come on.
No, I agree, but there is no exit strategy even going in. So what, we're going to end up with exactly what you said. Where's flatten the curve?
Yep, she's right in this way, Diligent. We're like a child who's crawled up in a tree without knowing how to crawl back down. The Trump administration has put the U.S. in a very difficult position.
If you have your hand up, just go. I don't want to have to call in hands while I'm
Okay,
placing.
I just really wanted to correct the record of something that I said yesterday. When I said that I'm happy to see our bases blown to pieces, I don't mean our servicemen and women. I don't want to see anyone die. And I also disagree with you, Miss Lou. Um, yes, for the American people, our endeavors in the Middle East has not worked out for us because it was not justified. But in the grand scheme of things, what everything that they wanted, all the places that they toppled, all the puppets that they put in, has been successful for the whoever is running the show. That's all. I just wanted to correct the record
You're
on that.
talking about for the globalist neocons,
Right.
for the one world order folks.
Correct. Which
Oh, I agree with you
happens to,
there, honey. I
yeah.
agree with you there 100%. But I meant successful in terms of us as a constitutional republic and a populist nation. That's what I mean. Not in terms of those who are really in power, who we don't even know their names. And I point to the Bank of London additionally into that. There are so many players here that are, back to the Rothschilds that have been planning on this for a long time.
I want to look into during this space. Is there something to that? People keep tagging me in these, replying this to me, and that we are going after the countries that refuse our centralized banking system. And when you look at it, Cuba, Colombia, Venezuela, and Iran, Russia, they all don't play by our rules, the centralized banking system. I'm not saying that's a reason, but it's definitely probably an incentive, right? It is a factor. Oh, Ian Carroll shouted about my YouTube page. Cool. Thank you. I'm watching you on YouTube. Share it out. Hit the notifications. If you want to participate in this conversation, come over on X. Jump up, request. Yeah,
Diligent
so
money is always the reason.
money is always it's always one of the reasons. Money and power. There is I was saying this earlier in a different space, or maybe I was having a private conversation. I don't remember when I was saying this. Maybe it was last night. It was late night. But, Trump is clearly not acting in he is going against the policies that he wore as a belt of victory, as his trophy, as a man of the people. He touted no more Middle Eastern wars. I mean, this was a very clear policy. No more forever wars, right? Like over and over and over again. No more nation building, right? So if we're not gonna adhere to that policy, what the is he doing? What is he doing? And why is he doing it? I would argue, and this is my position now, firmly, right? And I'm open to being wrong, but the evidence is leading me this way, is that he either lied on the campaign trail for all those years, or two, the administration's compromised, either by our IC or by a foreign country's IC, because these behaviors are not in line with his agenda, right? He is not in line with his agenda. When you stir global conflict, it is harder to resolve conflicts that were already in place. For example, Russia and Ukraine, right? Russia and Iran have a relationship. You are driving them closer together. You're not weakening Russia by going after Iran. Maybe you are to a certain degree, right? Like, if you think about the war machine, Iran manufactures drones and they ship those drones to Russia. Russia uses those drones in Ukraine, right? But China does as well. And they still you're driving Russia and China closer together for oil, for weapons manufacturing, for a lot of stuff. This is not the W that they think it is. And the one thing that you had, which was oil going down, is now going up. The barrels are going up. So we're already in a state of stagnation, or stagflation. I'm sorry, stagflation. And where all of our commodities, despite economic change, where energy costs, or at least oil and gas, went down, which means it has a deflationary effect where the cost of transporting goods goes down. Okay. The cost of services goes down for the companies, for the corporations, for your mom and pop shops, right? All of that stuff goes down so they can lower their prices a little bit and ease up on the consumers. But that didn't happen. That was a telltale sign for me that we are in trouble. When gas went down and the costs of goods remained high, we can argue all day on whether or not it was the tariffs or if it was the amount of money they were putting into the system. I would argue it's both. That all of like milk and all of these other commodities, these food commodities remained up high. Cost of living has remained high. Cost of electricity has remained high. Cost of propane has remained high. The cost of housing has remained high. All of it has remained high despite the deflationary effects of gas, right? Now you don't even have gas. Now gas is going up. We're in a heap of trouble, man. This is not good. Go ahead, Amir.
Well, this is my personal opinion, but I don't think I think this is the biggest psyop that our country has ever faced. I think if you look at his first term and the Operation Warp Speed and the people that he surrounded himself with. And people would say, "Well, he doesn't know who's who, and he's not a politician." So I gave him a pass, but he has surrounded himself with the same types of people. I remember when there was this like constitutional libertarian type guy that was running against Mitch McConnell, and he funded Mitch McConnell against that guy. And so, I've just seen this pattern going on for a very long time. I haven't seen a single policy. Maybe with the aside from the borders being closed, I haven't seen any policies that have done anything for us. In fact, I just heard, and I don't know if this is true or not. Maybe Grok could verify that there's some sort of something in this Save Act about transgender surgeries for minors. But anyways, I just think that.
Amira, he just changed that apparently.
Oh, okay.
That's been amended allegedly. I mean, sort of
Well,
put that out.
when you
So we'll
look at
see.
the Q thing, and Godfrey wasn't here, but he's not. Yeah, Godfrey's here. So the Q thing, I really truly believe he's a part. He was all in on that. With, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it was a military type strategy, if it's for a psyop, but you have these people who have now believe that everything that they're seeing, even though it goes against America, is somehow part of some this grandiose plan that's going to save us all. Obama ran on hope and change, and I knew who he was. I knew who his mentor was. He was a card carrying communist,
Just
but you
begun
know,
to fight.
I
And
was
this was
I
the
thought
latest
that was a
video that
psyop,
CENTCOM
the whole
putting
lying
out
kind of a
there,
thing.
just
But
showing
this
the
goes
force and
beyond the veil.
strength
This
of our U.S.
one of
military
the
as they
major things that Trump
conduct
had going
these
for him, aside
operations
from
in
all of his
Iran
other
and the Middle
flaws and
East. So again, we'll be
garbage that I
keeping an
couldn't
eye on
stand,
all
that
of
was
these
the no
developments here
Middle
for you
Eastern
on
wars,
Live Now from
the
Fox.
the
We'll take a
getting out
2-minute
of
break and be back with
being
so
the
much
policeman
more
of the
coming up
world, being
in
in
just
people's
moments
business.
on
And
Live
what has he
Now.
done? Look at Venezuela, Ecuador. He's talking about Cuba next. I mean, and I don't care about a global new world order with us having the Western Hemisphere. That's not what I voted for. And I just think that there's, I think there
You
was
get all of
a
my
vote yesterday
24-hour
to,
trades
about the
of
War
all the
Powers Act,
things that
or
I am
giving him
doing.
extra powers.
It
And I
was
think,
no, it was actually it was an attempt to force him to take it before Congress before he continued his campaign,
okay,
and it
so every
failed.
Democrat voted in favor of that, and
Yeah,
two Republicans also, and I'm
it was
assuming.
partisan.
Right. So it was Massey and Rand Paul, I'll assume, I believe, are the ones that. But I can guarantee you, if it had been a Democrat president, whether if it was Kamala Harris, all of those Democrats would have voted this opposite way. So I don't know how. There's no voting our way out of this, and I think the only way. The world is in the streets now. I mean, Khomeini, whatever you think of him, it was like the Pope to them. He wasn't. He's not the
I
president of
appreciate people
Iran.
being
That is
with
the
us.
like the
Let
Pope
me
for
thank a
all
couple
Shia
people
Muslims.
real
So
quick.
you see Muslims in the streets in all different countries cheering
Let me just say
on
thanks to a couple
our
people real quick, and
demise
then
from
we'll
our bases being in their
get back
country,
into the updates.
going and protesting at our consulates and
Excuse
our
me. Thanks so
embassies.
much
I
to
mean, this has lit the
Sihan
world on
Bali from
fire.
Turkey.
And how did we start it? By
Sihan
bombing a
Bali.
school, a bunch of little
Two
girls'
last names
school
I
in
remember. Josh Barnes, Michael Perrin, G8S, Matthew F84FZ, Josh
I don't know what that
Doyle,
was, but okay.
Well,
Yeah, that was weird.
C5171,
I will have
Average
to say
Dad
this.
from
YouTube's telling
Mitch.
me there's no sound. Just 1 second. Go ahead, continue. Go ahead, Dave.
I will have to say this,
I
my
believe
friend,
the news
that
agencies might
I
hire
think
people in
Israel
different
took out the
countries
leader
to
of
run their
Iran
cameras.
so
Although I don't
that
know,
we
maybe
couldn't
they
get
send
out.
people there. That I'm not
I
sure.
think that they know that
Thank
Trump
you,
wants to
Benny
negotiate.
Hill,
Al Jazeera just
Michael
reported
Hutchinson,
yesterday that
Falcon the Bird, Lobster
Netanyahu
Bobster,
called Trump upset that he
Julian
was
O
trying to
Photography,
negotiate an end to this in the back channels, and Trump
98878282205.
said, "I won't stab you in the back," which is a very weird thing
Libertarian
to
Minded,
say.
Deb Uno,
This is
Twitter
really your
pated.
vassal state. It's a
Thank you
very
for your
weird thing to
support.
say to a country of 9 million people. I'm talking about like South Carolina size, that the president of the United States would say, "No, no, 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 I promise you, I would never backstab you by trying to negotiate peace." And then they take out the leader of Iran, and then how do you negotiate peace from there? Turn the chessboard around and ask yourself, well, what do the Iranians do if the Americans and the Israelis say whatever we tell you is a lie? It's just like when when Andrea Merkel said, the Minsk agreement was just a lie. We just pretended to make peace so that we could build time to go to war with Vladimir Putin. Well, now we're in a very difficult situation because they took out the leader of that country.
And not only that, David, but now he's asking again. He's out there asking for a pardon for Netanyahu. And Iran. I think that Americans think that Iran is like Iraq or those other Middle Eastern countries. It is not. It is far advanced, and the people, they're not being. I've seen countless videos of people in the streets. They are. I mean, they look Western. So this whole thing that we have to save the women from this oppressive blah blah, it's all bullshit, complete and total bullshit. And now our troops they're going to invade. And I don't know what news it was that asked Iran, are you scared of the Americans coming in? And he said, no, we're waiting for them because the terrain is completely different, and it's something that we are not accustomed to. And we think that all the people that we lost in Vietnam, it's going to look like A piece of cake. I mean, this is really bad, really bad.
But
And
the difference in this and Vietnam is I don't see, and Diligent, I want to ask you this. I'll turn this into a question. I don't believe that this can go past $150 a barrel. We make oil, we create oil, but there are a lot of countries like Japan and our allies that make no oil at all. Are relying on the open market, and $150 a barrel creates a global financial crisis. What do you think about that?
I mean, we're already in the midst of a global financial crisis. If you look at if you look at what's happening with silver and gold right now, particularly silver, you'll understand that the wealthy are dumping their money into assets that can outlast economic turmoil. That's what's happening. That's why gold and silver is skyrocketing, because the wealthiest are consolidating all of their assets into precious metals so that retain their value through economic turmoil, right? So that's why there's a big rush on silver. That's why there was a big rush on gold, particularly silver, because it's actually something they could make money on. It was down when they started dumping into it. And so, most of the economic people that I know, like people who are in the markets, say they're watching. They're watching. If you're not in AI right now, it's just going to fall apart. Like that's where everybody's at. There's a bell curve happening with AI. I know people who are in like at Trump level wealth, right? Who are making a hand over fist in AI and the agents development and all of that, building businesses and then selling them for AI for the AI agent based businesses that are replacing workers. If you are in that business right now, you are making money hand over fist if you know what you're doing. But outside of that, a lot of people are standing to lose a lot of wealth and money, what little that they have. And I can tell you this much: the middle class and the lower to middle class is definitely not doing good. Um, yeah, man, it's not a good look. And war, the stock market finally reacted over the last few days. War it's a futures market, so uncertainty is what drives the value of stocks down. Uncertainty, right? There's a lot of things that play into uncertainty. It's demand. It is. Um, Also the ability to output consistently, right? Production. It's also, and this is the big one, supply chain. So war disrupts supply chain, and every time, it also it makes resources scarce for certain resources, like certain like technology sectors and ammunition, etc. Right? So it's not a good. It only benefits war manufacturing. Only benefits a very small subset of the population. A very very small subset of the population, and the rest of us are screwed. Go ahead, Godfrey.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I didn't want to take the space to Q, but Amira mentioned, Q was the psyop that Trump needed to explain away his treasonous acts, which is what we're seeing right now. Like, and it was to prepare the ground for what I believe to be World War III in Iran and possibly a coming police state. But the fact of the matter is, just to take it to Trump and Iran, I mean, nobody voted for this war. Like, nobody voted for this war. The only people that are shilling for this war are people with ties to Israel and people in the Republican Party that are just part of the Trump sycophant crew. Like, this is not what MAGA meant to many of us. And it's unbelievable to me. Like, and I just everything this man's done is a lie. Having Project Stargate on his second day of the administration announcing new mRNA vaccines from Larry Ellison, keeping the COVID vaccine on the shelves, uh, covering up January 6th, blaming the pipe bombing on a mentally slow guy who was into My Little Pony, not revealing if Ray Epps was a Fed, like on and on, covering up Epstein, calling it a hoax, shutting it down, not releasing all the documents. He's still in violation of federal law to this day. Like, he literally lied about everything. And I'm with Amira. I think the whole thing was a rug pull, and we just didn't see it the last administration, because they presented this image like he was under siege, the deep state was out to get him. I think Russiagate was designed to create that narrative. Like, these things were done by design, that all the lawsuits, these were all done by design. I don't believe any of it was real. I think it was all designed to make him look like a victim so that we could vote him in, so he could come in, be this conquering hero to save America. He was this beleaguered, hero who was, the deep state almost bludgeoned him to death, and then he came here to save us. Like, the whole thing was a hoax, literally. Like, all of it. I'm talking the E. Jean Carroll lawsuit was a part of it. Like, that's where I'm at with Trump's betrayal at this point. Like, I literally think that.
I'm still thinking that he's just compromised somehow. maybe that's the MAGA
Diligent.
copium. Maybe
Yeah,
that's
he.
the MAGA copium in me, right? Like I'm gonna be honest, right?
Well, he was he was
There is a sliver inside of me, right, that thinks that, and this is not good either, right? That thinks that that when he got shot in Butler, that that was a warning, right? I think they did try to take him out. They failed and said, "Listen, we will take you out." And I also feel like they gave him a choice where, like, we can either completely destroy you and your legacy and your family and your wealth, or you can play ball and we'll enrich you. And I think he took option B. That's just my opinion. If we're gonna get into that, that's my opinion. Uh, if he hadn't
Yeah.
been shot, go ahead.
Yeah, brother, I want to agree with you. I think it's very possible, obviously from the compromise angle, because you asked a good question earlier. Why is our government, not just Trump, really? And if you want to talk about Trump, Godfrey, you're 100% right. You have glyphosate. He turned his back on glyphosate. He's increasing the 6G now, moving in, and he's the one that put out 5G. And, there's a lot of concerns as far as does that cause cancer? This is, anyway, I'm not going to get too much into the radiation aspect of it. What I'm saying is, why is our government doing this? We know politicians lie. So on the face of it, you can't take it at face value, but the Epstein files, it's so indicative of why it's in the title here, is because it's the first time we get a behind the veil look and be able to psychoanalyze some of the motivations here. What do we see? We see, Epstein, we see foreign interests, we see the Rothschild. He says he's a representative of the Rothschild. We see one of his financial bank accounts named Baal, this kind of ancient deity. Obviously, people are ideological. People have different faiths and beliefs. Could ideology sometimes lend themselves to motivations, especially political motivations? And we're seeing, let's see, if we analyze Baal, this is an ancient Carthaginian type of deity where you sacrifice children to this deity. And do we see abusive children? So we obviously are getting this spin narrative. Propaganda has been important from time immemorial for these rulers and different leadership and governments. And so what is this ideology where they're abusing children? They believe they're getting favor and power with this god, Baal. And so they have trillions. Clearly, there's something that works there in their mind, this dark magic. And I think that if we keep ignoring that aspect of what the Epstein files are revealing here, then we'll kind of be going in circles. So I think it was an astute and apt question, Diligent. And I think the Epstein files are going to be the key to explaining why we're in these forever wars, no matter what administration. Still, people have to die somewhere on the planet. And then they roll out this artifice, puppet show, vaudeville show, Potemkin Village excuse over and over. And like you said, Diligent, they got Cuba lined up. And I do think there's something about this central bank notion because, Rockefeller said, if you give me the ability to control someone's finances and the banking, I care not who makes their laws. And I think that's important here.
And I would like to touch on the Butler thing real quick. Totally bought into that 100%, that that the deep state tried to take him out, and the whole fight. I was all for it, right? I was like, oh my gosh. But then not that long ago, I remember seeing a video that was posted by Brick Suit. He had taken the video because he goes to all the rallies. And in this video, people started analyzing it, and they saw like the Secret Service, ushering in the press and the flag coming down. It looked like a staged event, right? And people were questioning, like, what is this? Well, Brick Suit went nuts. And he was like, this is my video. Take this down, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you posted it. I don't think he realized what he was posting. And so it's now on the internet and everybody has access to it. Why are you acting like this? And I thought his behavior about that video was so strange. And I kept watching it over and over again. And it did not sit right with me. And when I brought it up to a couple people, I said, but people died. Yes, people died because our government takes out people all the time. Charlie Kirk's dead too. And then the FBI cleaned up that place. That guy who did quote unquote Butler, his apartment was cleaned up and he was cremated. And to give Trump a pass to say compromised or they gave him an ultimatum. No, when you sign up to be the president of the United States, you are signing up for your life, like our soldiers do, right? So if you don't have the courage to stand up for your country and die for it, you have no business becoming president. And he could easily get up on the mic and the camera, look at the American people, and tell them, I am being held hostage. I am under duress. They are threatening me. And if they take him out, the American people would rise up against this. So I'm not giving him a pass. I'm sorry.
I agree. If he's not willing to make the sacrifice for the Constitution that he swore to uphold, then he needs to relinquish. Then bow out. And if you can't do it, and I understand that's asking a lot, but that's the gig. You chose to accept that. You chose to take that oath. And let me just say this: we all die. We rarely get to choose how. And if I could sacrifice my life to ensure that my daughter has a future, 100% will do it. 100%. I am willing to make that trade off. Everything in life is about trade offs. That's an acceptable trade off for me. What we have going on right now is not. It is not. Especially when we're talking about a lot of these people selling us out, and Trump included, okay, they're ancient. They're at the end of their lives. What, you're scrambling? You're making a mad, greedy scramble for what? 10 years? 10 years? When your family already has a legacy of they'll never want or need for anything for generations, and you're still dead set on squandering and building wealth and amassing more wealth from a people who are debt slaves already. It just grosses me out, man. It grosses me out.
I think I think this
Go ahead.
completes the idea that we're being lied to in all directions. I'll repeat the Joe Rogan joke where he said before COVID, I believed in vaccines and afterwards I didn't believe in the moon landing. This once and for all tells all of us that we cannot vote our way out of it. The biggest misapprehension, as you've heard me say, of the voting booth is that it's our instrument of control over our rulers. This isn't true. This isn't true. It's their instrument of control over us. Quite the reverse is true. So now we know once and for all that this is just a giant lie machine. And if I were coming from the future and I would be warning you of the Terminator, like the guy warned Sarah Connor. Nothing stops this thing. It has no morals. It doesn't. You cannot bargain with it. It doesn't care about you. It doesn't have sympathy or emotions or kindness or solicitude. None of these things. And that's what we're awakening to. And I like what my friend just said. Our friend, this young lady, when she said no. Trump, even if he's compromised, still has a choice of where he's going to kill all these people, all these children, of whether he's going to be do the bidding of someone else. Patrick Henry said it best. Would you suffer? Would you accept peace while suffering the bonds of slavery? This is the choice that we have. Slavery or freedom. Our country, and I'm glad that we're having an American space. Everybody, please retweet this space out. This is for Americans because the narrative is important here. And none of the other spaces, they're not talking about the narrative. They're not listening to Trump and listening to how cognitively dissonant it is from not only everything he said, but what our founding fathers said. And so, this idea that we're supposed to just absolutely give up, like our country was founded upon a Declaration of Independence from England, and we 1,000 times more need a Declaration of Independence from Israel and this cabal of lunatics.
I'm looking at Brick's page. It looks like it used to be his pinned post, and I've met Brick numerous times at Trump rallies. was friends with him. After I flipped on Epstein and decided that I couldn't reconcile protecting establishment pedos, he stopped following me. But we're still cordial. But it's weird. I cannot find that video. It looks like he took it down. It was like his most viral video ever. He was standing right there when Trump got shot. I can't find it. It's so weird.
Diligent, I have a good post from Genghis Khan that goes over that the assassination. I'll put it in the pill.
Well, I was just trying to dig it up, but yeah, I don't want to like get too side railed with it. For me though, that was when I noticed a tangible change. That was when he picked JD Vance as his VP, right? He hated JD Vance. He despised JD Vance. JD Vance compared him to Hitler leading up to the 2020 election. Okay, he was a never Trumper, right? He was anti-Trump numerous times, publicly talking crap about Trump. Trump hates that. Trump absolutely hates that. For him to just like flip on JD Vance without another word was right after that was like the first signal that there was a shift in Trump, right? For me, anyways, being somebody who followed him religiously for the few years, I didn't really start following him until 2021, right? 2021 or 2022 was after January 6th. But I watched him religiously, all of his speeches, what he was doing, what he was talking about. I went to all of his rallies in 2024, waited overnight to be at the front of the line. And then I would host spaces there, like just everything I could to support and try to get him in there because I thought he was going to take out the corrupt bureaucracy and free us. And the first change for me was JD Vance. I remember I hosted a big space the day that he said he was picking JD Vance, and I was like, everybody in the space that was a diehard Trump supporter was like, what is going on here? We are not happy with this guy. And you know what's funny? And it brings me back to CPAC that year. JD Vance, it was either just after, God, I can't believe I forgot about this. I'm going to have to pull up this clip. JD Vance said that he was ready to bomb Iran 2 weeks after the inauguration, or maybe it was the night of the inauguration. Now that I think about it, I'm going to have to pull that clip. I posted it. He was immediately talking about bombing Iran after the election. It was either election night when they won, or it was right after the inauguration. I went to DC, and I was at the inauguration, so it's kind of a blur. I'll have to go back and dig that out. But he's up my gut tells me that was the first move of compromise when they picked JD Vance. And now that I'm looking at things retrospectively, when we think about Peter Thiel, his association with Epstein, when you look at Palantir, which is Peter Thiel and the CIA's baby, and how many, I did threads on this, there is almost the entire cabinet of the Trump administration is linked to Palantir. Almost every one of them, in a significant way. Stephen Miller had, a couple $100,000 in Palantir stock in his kid's name. Even Pam Bondi was a lobbyist for Ballard Partners, right? Who lobbied for Palantir. Same thing with Susie Wiles. They're all tied to it. So it is, how do I say this? It is clear that we are compromised. I would say not just from Israel, much to my friend David's dismay, but also by our own IC, right? Our own CIA and the corporate interests, right? I think it's all of them, all of the above. I don't think it's any one country. And even if, okay, let's just say that Israel has compromised us and they are calling the shots somehow. The compromise is on our side. It's not on Israel's side. Any country, when you're the strongest superpower in the world with the most influence, any smaller country is going to use any advantage that they can to try to control you in any way that they can, right?
But there is no our side and your side. There is a financial industrial complex, and there is a intelligence industrial complex. The CIA and the MI6 and Mossad are the same thing. And then there's a military industrial complex, and these things are ecumenical. We have to wake up from history and realize we're being ruled. When we say globalist, we should mean it by a small cabal of people of a few hundred, and they are dominating and immiserating all of civilization, mostly all of Western civilization.
But David, understand that all those complexes, the intelligence complex, the banking complex, the military complex, they're all tied together. That's
Yes.
what makes up the total bureaucracy that has compromised our elected officials, including our president and Diligent. You are spot on. Something happened after Butler. I saw it in the way that he communicated with the base. Then he had the nerve after, the whole Epstein debacle to call us bad people if we wanted to know the truth. There was just things that were said. You have to find that video that relates J.D. Vance with the bombing of Iran. That will go so viral. It'll be scary how viral that will go. So please find that.
And I want to
I'll
know
find it.
I want to know how many listeners on YouTube, how many listeners on X right now believe that trillions of dollars of profit are going to be made off this war. They know it, they planned it, they've gamed it out like game theory, and they know exactly how much money they're going to make, and everybody else in the world is going to get poorer except for that small cabal of people.
I-
Um, can I say something? I mean, being civilized, or one of the person who was just asking for his turn. Yeah, am I allowed to speak something?
yeah, just
Host.
go for it, man. Go for it.
Yeah. Certain things. Yeah. I mean, I'm not in the habit of interrupting anyone, so sorry for that. Or I'm being very, like. Um, anyway, uh, the first thing that I will like to state is like, and this is to be seen and this is to be understood. When the oil process prices, I was just looking in the market trends and things like that. Anything, if the oil prices are crossing 88 US dollar, I think that's a red flag. Okay, and that's something that everyone needs to be understood, and everyone among us will need to understand this. So that's the red flag.
You mean the
88
red
US.
line? Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
And why is
88.
that the red line?
Because beyond that, we will hit into the economic situation of, I mean, we will need to understand what do we mean by inflation, what do you mean stagflation, and other economic terms, right? 88 US dollar, and I'm giving you the ballpark figure.
Are you talking about
As,
the barrel price per barrel of
yes,
oil?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. As of now, just take that as a ballpark figure, right? And that's where everything will start. And I'm just speculating, okay? Number two, I, I just have a basic question, right? And this will be a very basic question. Was that is going on in Iran, not taking any side, was avoidable. And I believe
I'm sorry?
if it was avoidable, something that could
If it
have
was
been over,
avoidable, yeah,
Avoidable.
it definitely, hold on. It definitely was avoidable because it wasn't happening, right? We started this war, right? I was arguing, I couldn't believe it. There's these news accounts, right, that I was clicked up with when I was just doing breaking news, and I was doing the same thing everybody else was, and aggregating news as fast as I could, and just regurgitating the slop. I did that. Admittedly, I did that. I started my account that way because I thought that's what we were supposed to do. Was whoever could just break news the fastest, and a lot of times taking cues from Trump or the administration, right? Until Epstein. Thank God I woke up. But these accounts that covered the news that were so worried about Epstein, or I'm sorry, evidence and being objective and critiquing news outlets about what they should or shouldn't write about, they started commenting on my post last night that Iran had nukes and they were screaming, chanting "Death to America," and that's why we're bombing them. And I'm like, dude, they've been chanting "Death to America" for 30 years. And where's the nukes? Also, we've been told that they were gonna on the verge of having nukes for 30 years, right? So it was just really strange to me to see all of these accounts that were beholden to evidence and truth completely spinning just because it was Iran or because it was
It just seems very
Israel,
coordinated.
just completely casting off any facade of objectivity or evidence-based investigation or journalism. It's just wild to
And
me.
now
Go
we have
ahead.
people sitting on the Armed Services Committee asking for that evidence and saying they haven't gotten any. There's no evidence they provided us with no evidence that America was about to attack, that they were about to attack Americans. So they couldn't even get a declaration of war if they wanted one because they'd have to supply the evidence, which clearly they don't have.
If you have your hand up, just go. I don't want to have to call on you. Hold on pretty soon. I'm going to go to some of these other hands.
Okay,
Go ahead.
hey, Dilly, it's Crow here, Colonel Burton.
Hey, what's up, brother?
Hey, man. Hey, I just hope we can get to a spot like we did last night where all the fangs come out from the Matrix and try to destroy your space because you're slinging truth, man. Well done. Love it. So today, what we saw was Kristi Noem is fired and McMullen is in. That's a huge deal. And
Are you about it? You like that deal?
I don't know. I'd like to say I know because I've got some, I don't know, just some hints about her, but at the end of the day, she was doing, I think, what the administration wanted. What I'm worried about here with this, and Maine can speak up on this, even though I don't like that fucker if he's still in it in the space.
He was. I don't know where he went. I was going to call on him next.
Yeah,
The
sorry.
space is glitching. I can't even. I don't even see you on stage. But go ahead, continue.
Dude, I'm getting glitched so bad. And I think you're getting attacked like it's going out of style. But anyway, so with McMullen coming in, which I think is like good because he's like serious and competent, not incompetent. He's serious and competent, like really competent dude. However, what I worry about is that the real power is his seat in the Senate, and then it takes it back more towards the Uniparty. So that's just a little thing there. But you know where I am on this. I'm with you, Dilly. Just keep
Well,
slinging the truth.
what do you think about the fact that he's received nearly $500,000 from APAC, and now he's going to be our HHS secretary?
And there you go, right? So, and we had Sheehy, the other day, and this is what knocked your space off last night. I'm talking about you got nuked. I mean, everyone in your space got nuked.
Yeah, I know.
Me,
I know.
every single person who was on stage got nuked last night when we brought this up. Was the former Marine who